So guys, welcome in today's video. If you want to edit off your NAS, then this video is definitely for you. Windows is going to be always doing Windows things. I have right here a NAS. This is the Ugreen DXP 4800 Plus. So working off this NAS, does this work at a technical level? So that means, are you going to be able to edit your videos directly from your NAS without having to swap out files from your computer to your NAS? And taking this a step further is, can you save a project on your computer right here that is not done, and maybe can you open it up on your laptop while on the go from the NAS without having to ever have the files touch each and any one of your devices? So solely working off the NAS, is this possible? Is this a viable technical solution for your workflow? And is this unit up to the task? That's gonna be my 2 cents at the end of this video, but until then, let's just stick with the workflow here and see how well or how bad it behaves. None of the files that I'm gonna be showing you in my projects right now are stored on this computer. They're all stored on these drives inside this NAS, so everything is gonna be happening inside the NAS. I'm also going to be showing you exactly in the Ugreen OS what's happening with the drives real time, so that you can actually see, not only hear what's happening with the drives while we work on the timeline. Alright, so just scrubbing through my timeline here, everything seems to be working just fine. I can do occasionally here, of course, the NAS, but that's not a big deal. Basically, all the video files and the audio files are already cached up into Adobe Premiere, so it kind of knows where everything lives and it doesn't really have to access it as much. It being, of course, stored in the cache. And as you can see, everything it's quite snappy, or at least for my workflow it's snappy enough. I am running an AM4 processor in here, so definitely your mileage might vary. If you have a faster AM5 platform or a newer generation Intel CPU, then definitely things are going to be looking up for you from where I stand. So, this being said, let's open up another project. Let's see here. So, let me actually show you that I am actually using the Ugreen NAS. So, this is basically my network, attached storage here. As you can see, we are working off the network, all right? And we go over to Cloud Fusion, that's the name of my NAS. Going over to the personal folder, projects for YouTube. Let's open up something that I haven't, I don't know, worked on in quite a bit of time. Maybe this cryo sheet video right here. All right, let's open up this project. All right. As you can see, it's locating the media right now. Everything seems to be working okay. There's not a lot of noise coming out of this guy, so that's pretty cool as well. All right, I don't know why Adobe always does this, but if I click offline all, it's still gonna be locating everything. And right now, there's gonna be something happening. It's going to be generating something that's called peak file. So that's about the audio files of your videos, because they have to be generating this waveform right here. Now that actually might take some time. If you haven't been working with a project for some time, or you have never loaded it up from the NAS before onto your system, so that means that Adobe never had a chance to create the cache for the files, then that's going to be taking some time. This is where the mileage might vary portion really kicks in, because if you have a newer machine, then this is going to be happening faster. This right here is already upgraded, so we do have 32 gigs of 5600 megahertz DDR5 RAM in there, with SSD caching available to it, both for read and for write. I have 2 NVMe drives, 1 terabyte each, loaded up into this machine, just in order to have that SSD cache array already set up for the, well, 16 terabyte HDDs that I have in there. Now, as you can see, we have already been loading up here a part of the timeline, or I should say a part of the project. There's some, I don't know why this is happening. Anyway, some media that's still offline. Probably I haven't been placing everything in there, as this has been happening in the past 3 weeks or so. I've been moving everything to the NAS and probably have missed a few folders, but anyway, that's fine. So as you can see, right now, we're still generating some of the peak files for this portion of the video of the project right here. We can still hit play. We still have audio, but it's just that we don't have the file here, or I should say the waveform in here. But anyway, you can scroll through the timeline You can hit play, you can hit pause. It's quite responsive, even in the portions where you have no media. All right, there we go. So yeah, so you can hear the NAS working a little bit in the background. Not a big deal, but you can definitely work off your project, especially when they're done loading their peak files. So for instance, what I find myself doing quite a lot of time is actually needing part of a project. So if I want to take, let's say, this part of the project and put it into another project that I've been working on, then you can definitely do that. So I've just copied some of that there and go over here. It's still generating some of that peak files, so I do feel a slowdown even with OBS running. But there you go. Just like that, I have access to my folder right here, I should say to my video file without any sort of problem. You can really hear it working off in the background now. But this is the point of this video, to actually show you what the machine is capable and how it is going to do everything. As you can see, we have a lot of read speeds and write speeds, just because of this peak file right here. I'm pretty sure that once that is completed, then definitely the whole machine is gonna feel much more responsive, even with OBS running here. Okay, so why I wanted to wait for the peak file to be over, because that's not really saying much about the NAS unit itself. It's more of a slowdown caused by my computer and the way Adobe runs. But yeah, once that is done, you can definitely see that you can, you know, scroll wherever you want on the timeline, and it's definitely okay for me anyway. These are 4K files, so we are editing in 4K. So yeah, you know, it works okay. You can hit play, pause. It feels quite okay, quite normal, I would say. And yep, I can work like this without any sort of issue. You can definitely use your NAS as something to edit off from, and that's really the point of this video. Are you able to work on a project off your NAS directly? The answer is yes. Can you do so in a very friendly, open way where everything is snappy? Sure you can, especially if you have a good machine to work off with. So for instance, as you can see, I can work off this without any sort of problem. Now, let's say I'm gonna open up, let's say I'm gonna just save this project with this bit that I have copied over from the other project right here, and just put it here and save this project. And now let's transfer over to my laptop here and open it up on my laptop, because I want to see if I'm able to take this on the go with me and continue editing while I'm not at my main station. Alright, so working off my personal folder here, let's see, let's go over to project for YouTube and open up the 5080 just as before and see if we can continue. Alright, it's opening up the project now. Okay. There you go. We have this bit that we have copied over from the CryoSheet folder, or I should say project, to the 5080 project. So it's going to be generating that peak file once again. Yeah, there's no working around this. So the discussion will come down to, are you able to work off your NAS directly for your, video file, ingesting files into your Adobe Premiere setup, and can you edit directly off the NAS? Yes, you can. For sure you can. I'm doing this ever since I mounted this Ugreen NAS here on my desk, and I'm pretty happy with the overall layout. Especially if you're working on brand new project that you are just ingesting the video files from directly into your NAS and creating the NAS, or I should say the files for the video itself directly on the NAS, that's not a problem. Loading up the cache in Adobe Premiere as you go in a project is definitely not something that you have to generally wait around for. It just happens automatically in the background, and it doesn't really use a lot of resources. Now for today's video, probably things didn't feel as snappy because I was also running OBS into the background, and that tends to generally eat up a lot of the RAM and processing power of the CPU. And as I've mentioned, I am running on an AM4 platform, which is a bit ancient by now. The 3900X as a CPU, it's seen its glory days. So those are way behind it now. Now, if you're running a faster machine, even generating that peak file is not going to be a problem for you, especially if you import a lot of the files from older projects into your current workflow. But yeah, if you don't have to do that on a regular basis, then that's definitely not going to be an issue. In the realm of possibilities with the NAS, what I also like is the fact that I can maybe work on something on my main machine right here and then take that something that I've created and I haven't completed yet on the go with my laptop and work on it somewhere else through the internet without any sort of problem. And that's really cool. If you want to see, once again, a general layout of what this NAS is capable of, I do have a video right here where I do a review about this unit. You can definitely go ahead and check that out for yourself. And overall, I will tell you that I feel quite confident in working off this NAS moving forward, because it definitely allows me for the flexibility of having my stuff with me wherever I go. There is another point that I want to mention here. There is another plus or another point that I want to mention here. For instance, if you are planning to buy a laptop and you don't have enough SSD space available, and if you're not going for a Windows machine and you're thinking about going for an Apple device, as you know, Apple devices are notorious for how expensive they get when you're planning about upgrading your storage. So this can be a workaround of sorts whenever you're trying to buy a new device from Apple. You can buy the lower storage option from Apple and basically work off your NAS directly without any sort of problem, because the files don't have to touch your device at all. So your device is freely-nilly sitting there without any sort of storage problems, even later on as you accumulate more and more footage, because your footage lives somewhere else. Another very nice thing to think about is the access. So if you're planning to have people working alongside you on projects that you are currently working on, you can definitely allow them access to whatever files you want from the NAS. So you can have several people working off simultaneously off this NAS remotely without any sort of headache. So is this viable? Can you do it? Yes, you can do it, and that's pretty nice, especially if you're planning to upgrade to maybe a 10 gigabit network solution that will give access faster to people living in the network or even on the internet. So in workflow terms, this opens up a bunch of possibilities for me that I wasn't really considering before purchasing this NAS, but after I've been using it for a bit of while now, I can't see myself going back to the days without it. Anyway, for any questions that you might have, just, drop them down in the box below. I'll always do my best to read through each and every one of them. I hope you learned something from today's video, and you've been absolutely amazing for choosing to watch this with me. Thank you so very much, guys, for choosing to watch today's video with me, and see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.